Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to pull my questions out here. Welcome everyone to Coffee with Tina, where we discuss all things family court and narcissists, and whether they are diagnosed or not, or suspected, these types of individuals. First of all, it's really hard to get a diagnosis, if not impossible, but the term high conflict divorce, it only takes one person to create a high conflict divorce or situation or child custody battle. So let's talk about all of the above. Couple of things. Let's see. This morning, till noon Pacific time today, I believe all of the online courses at One Mom's Battle are 10% off. So you would just go to the One Mom's Battle website if you are interested in those. And a seed to be planted and to think about for the High Conflict Divorce Coach Certification Program. I am going to be pairing people who need coaching services and maybe can't afford them with my coach students who I will be training to take over the reins as I start to make my way out of the one-on-one coaching. I'll still be coaching all of my existing clients. That's not going away. Good morning, Bridget. But I will be passing the torch. So let's say you are in Missouri and you need coaching services. I will have a database of coaches that have been trained by me, certified by me, and some really amazing instructors to take the reins. And so that's something I'm really excited about. It actually my first training program kicks off next week. If you are interested in potentially being a student, not a student, a client, a test client for my new coaches, I would love to talk to you about that. We will have some additional details rolling out on One Mom's Battle on the Facebook page. So make sure you're paying attention over there because we'll be looking for probably about 30 people who need kind of direction, need brainstorming help, and we will pair you up with one of our coaches. So stay tuned on that. I'm excited about that because I know there are a lot of people who, can't necessarily afford to hire a divorce coach or anyone. I know I had to represent myself in family court, so I completely get it. And this is an opportunity to connect people, and you don't have to do this alone. So let's dive into our questions. Good morning, Randy. Good morning, Jessica. So the first question, and I have to do my small print disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not qualified to give legal advice. Always consult with your attorney to guide you. Anytime you're going to implement a new strategy or something we talk about here in our support group. And always watch the comments, because there are many people who have expertise in a lot of these areas who join us every week. So the whole group is a wealth of information. And okay, so somebody sent in a question that said, do you have resources or advice for those dealing with female narcissists? And a lot of it is, and I personally, because I was raised by my dad, I'm not, pro-mom, I'm not pro-dad, I am pro-child, and I am pro-healthy parent. And I get a lot of heat for that from both sides. I will never align with either. It's just a choice I made very early on because, there are times I'm working with a female client and I start seeing behind the scenes, or I go and pull the court file and I realize there's more to the story. And so there's dysfunction in both genders. And when someone is dealing with a female narcissist, a lot of the tactics, a lot of the strategies are the same. And I don't know how to phrase this without it coming out wrong. They can be even more covert, more manipulative, better at it than some of the male narcissists that I typically see. So it can take longer to, have someone show their true colors. But the problem is it goes back to the reality of the court system. The threshold of what the courts deem as acceptable when it comes to parenting is so much different than mine and probably yours. So, if you're trying, the strategies though are the same when it comes to communication, being strategic in your communication. Nothing you write is for the narcissist. It's all for the court, because the person who matters is the person who's reading it and making a decision about the fate of your child, the livelihood of your child, and whatnot. Karen says, yes, is my mother. Absolutely. They can be incredibly charming, incredibly manipulative. And so, yeah, my heart goes out to anyone who's dealing with someone on either side of, whether it's a male or a female. But it all, comes back to being strategic in your communication, in your actions, and operating from your authentic place of truth. When we give up our power to the other person, and, if somebody can read your communication and determine that you don't like this person, that's a problem. You have to go back to the drawing board, unless you're not a nice person to begin with, and keep on keeping on, do your thing. But I'm really big on, if I would have communicated with my ex-husband in the way that I truly feel about him, I know he's a danger to my kids. I would have come across as angry, bitter. The gray rock thing hurts people so badly in family court. And I, for one, embraced it in the beginning because I got so excited that there was a tool to help me navigate this. But when I present in that fashion, it's not a good representation of who I truly am as a parent, as a person. And when you've got a judge or another family court professional who's, it's all about painting a picture. They don't know either of you. They don't know that you're the healthy parent. For all they know, you're a pathological liar, and or you are, over the top, hyper vigilant, helicopter parent, and those are the things that they're kind of watching both sides. We go in there knowing who we are, knowing who the other person is, and we're so desperate for the judge to see who they are that we really mess up with how we present ourselves. And so for me, strategic communication, and I do offer an online course on strategic communication on the One Mom's Battle website. It's about showing up and painting that picture for the court of who I am at a core level, who I am as, if I had an amazing co-parent on the other side, I would be a fantastic co-parent. I know that is my truth. And so that's the area I'm going to operate from. Because when I let the narcissist seep into the equation, then I end up looking not as good as I normally would, or not as good as I am, because I'm giving them my power by doing the gray rock, by doing all of that. I'm just out here being myself. And I feel like that went a long way in the court. And that goes both ways. Again, male, female, it doesn't matter who you're dealing with. You're painting a picture for the court, and it's so important that they see who you really are. So just a couple of, let's see. Lucille says, I keep getting in trouble with my communication, and not because of the content, but I get triggered and send too many. I'm always being attacked, and I feel I need to defend myself. Huge issue for so many people. You are not alone in that. And that's where working on our own triggers is critical, whether it's EMDR, it's meditation, maybe it's medication, whatever it is for you. You have to be in a place where you are so centered. You have to have a game plan. Maybe if you get an email, somebody else reads it first that you trust. And that's the beauty of these groups is, whether you're in one of our online state chapters for One Mom's Battle, you can just, at this point, it comes up if you Google OMB state chapter. It'll take you to my blog post, which tells you exactly step by step how to join. But that's where there's beauty in these survivor groups, where you can take an email and say, this is what came through. This is how I'm planning to respond. Does anyone have any input? And I just launched, I'm calling it OMB Connect, and we're doing quarterly groups. So where we meet January, February, March. This group already started and it's full. That's one of the beauties of these groups that I'm doing, or the state chapters, or the Lemonade Club is another great resource to bounce ideas off each other. You don't have to do this alone. And whether or not you can afford to join the OMB Connect or the Lemonade Club, or the free option is the state chapters of One Mom's Battle. You don't have to do this alone, and you shouldn't be. And I'll tell you, people put me up on this pedestal and think that I'm this amazing warrior mom who stormed to the courtroom and protected my kids. And, I guess if you scrub it down, that's the short version of it. But the reality is, if my ex-husband, here's an example. Christmas time, he spirals. And even though we've had no contact with him for years, he blows up my phone at Christmas time. And so it was the week before Christmas just this year, and I had a panic moment, and I thought, oh my God, what if I have to check my phone and make sure he's still blocked, because I, would have been triggered. And so even me, with everything I've been through, everything I know, I can help you or my clients day in and day out to answer emails, respond to things. How do you write this? How would you respond to that? If it's my own ex-husband, I am going to be triggered. And so, give yourself a lot of grace on that, because I consider myself to be a pretty strong, resilient person, and even I deal with those things. So, Lucille says, I believe it's his new girlfriend who's always sending the nasty grams. Here's the thing. You want them to be sending you nasty grams. That is actually a dream for me. When these people are so stupid that they put things in writing and they're attacking and mean, or, they set the mask down, or maybe the mask is hanging off a little bit and enough seeps out. Those are the things you want. So some of this is changing your mindset. And when you get an attacking email, you look at it and you go, thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping me to show who you are. And it may not even be this week or next month or this year where someone views that email and has an issue with it. But I know from my own case, it could be 3 years down the line where a custody evaluator or a minors counsel or someone comes in and goes, wow, how long has this been going on? That type of thing. You want those emails. All we care about is how we respond to them, how we present. And that's where, for those of you who are new, Yellow Rock communication, that is, it's the still, I have Yellow Rocks around here. It is still the gray rock basis, but it's got a touch of yellow, a touch of politeness, common courtesy, how you would respond to your boss, how you would respond to a colleague, friendly. Even on the weekends where I feared for my daughter's lives, when I sent him an email, I said, I hope you guys have a great weekend, blah, blah, blah. I was always operating from my place of truth. So just we totally went sideways with all of that. Next question. My son's dad routinely asks to change the schedule. If I am free, do you see any harm in accommodating his request? Again, I can't give legal advice, and sometimes the questions, if asked by 3 different people, would get 3 different answers based on the variables, the circumstances in your particular case. My opinion is the court orders are, the way the court looks at the orders, it's a default. It's not like you would think of court orders in any other branch of the court system. Family court, their goal is for 2 people to co-parent and sing Kumbaya together on Sundays. And if you can't figure something out, you default to the court order. A lot of people have a really hard time hearing that. And again, every situation is different. It's just my vantage point from, the past decade working as a family court advocate that I see this, that, when people are, and there will be times where you have to be rigid and adhere to the court order exactly as it's written. And in my case, I did that often. I would say to my ex-husband, I look forward to getting to a place in our co-parenting relationship where we can make changes to the schedule. But with the current level of conflict, the way it is, I just don't feel comfortable deviating from Commissioner Perry's orders. And so I would actually say my judge's name. That way, if the judge were to read that communication, and those are exact emails that I've sent, if the judge were to read that email, what he takes away is that I'm not rigid, I'm not uncompromising, and I'm referencing the level of conflict, which I guarantee the judge would agree with, and he gets somewhat of an ego boost because the judge is going, oh, look at her. She's just trying to follow my very important court orders. And so that's where strategic communication comes into play. But again, it's not, some people have said to me, that feels manipulative. If it feels manipulative for you, then absolutely don't use that. For me, that was not manipulation. That was my authentic place of truth, because I truly do want to get to a place where I can co-parent with this person, because that's what's best for my kids. And so that was my truth, my go-to. So when it comes to the schedule, if you are in a position where, if the other party is canceling and offering you their time, I am someone who, if my ex-husband could not take his custody time and wanted to switch the schedule, often my answer was, I'm happy to take the girls this weekend. That's not a problem at all. But unfortunately, we already have plans next weekend, so I'm not able to switch. And that way, I'm taking them, I'm putting my boundary up that, no, sorry, we're not going to uproot our lives to accommodate your snowboarding trip or whatever, triathlon, whatever it is. So those types of things where a lot of people won't take the child, especially if it's a situation where the other parent routinely, tries to cancel their own parenting time. If I'm available, even if I'm not, I would cancel work plans. I would cancel whatever it is, because those are things that I would have documented and saved up for a year. And then I would have gone back into court, and I did, and said, Your Honor, his parenting time is at 30%, but he's only exercising 50% of that time. Here's the last 12 months mapped out, highlighted what his actual time was, what time he actually took. And I would like our new schedule to reflect what we are actually doing now. And so those are the types of things where, I think it leads into one of the next questions, which is, how hard is it to go from 25% custody to 50% custody? Is it an uphill battle? I'm assuming this person is asking about themselves increasing their time. But if it were to go the other way, let's say, I call it the chip away mentality, where if I get an order for 50-50 custody, I know that's not in my child's best interest. I don't believe in 50-50, even with two healthy parents. I think that's horrible to do to children. They never have a home base. I think that's horrible. But I believe that is a starting point. I believe there's nothing permanent in family court. And so if I had 50-50 custody, or, the other party, has more time, my goal is to chip away at that. If it's a situation where this is not a healthy person for the kids to be around. And so that was very much my strategy when my ex-husband would cancel visits and whatnot, is I just sat back quietly, accepting the kids whenever I had the opportunity, documenting what was happening, doing my princess wave to him, no problem, enjoy your trip, whatever, and then going into the court. And so that was my personal direction. But how hard is it to go from 25% to 50? It's a really hard question to answer, because again, variables, different circumstances. I like to give people hope. There is nothing permanent in family court. So I see things change all the time. If you're asking, how hard is it for the other parent to go from 25% to 50%, that's kind of the goal of the court. And depending on the circumstances, if the other person isn't harming the kids, sometimes even if they are harming the kids, the courts want to see everyone at a 50-50 split. And so it's usually a progressive step-up plan depending on the kids' ages, and things like that. So I'm kind of looking at the questions. Let's see. Okay, so the next question is how to handle sexual abuse allegations and no one believes you. That is kind of the nuclear bomb when it comes to allegations in the family court system. The national statistics of how many children are sexually abused by the time they turn 18 does not even come close to representing the number of cases that the courts actually validate. And so for me personally, when someone comes to me and those are their accusations, I quickly refer them to an attorney, but also I share what I see. And that is, you want to be very careful. A lot of this goes back to Richard Gardner, and the alienation stuff. If somebody is claiming sexual abuse allegations, there is this bias, this thought that they're doing it to get a leg up in custody. I have worked with people on a lot of sexual abuse cases over the years. I have never once seen a case where I suspected the accusing parent was lying. I will go on record and say that. I don't believe that there is any truth in that belief, but it is a very prevalent belief in the court system. So if you have suspicions that your child is being sexually abused, that is where really good documentation comes into play. And you need the best attorney who specializes in this topic to guide you. Because so many people, our instinct tells us you call CPS. That's just, what that agency is there for anyone who still has faith in the system or may be new to the system. That agency is one of the most corrupt, broken agencies I have ever come across. I have zero faith in them, other than sometimes as a paper trail to back up what you're saying. But, sexual abuse allegations, if I were facing that with my children right now, I would never personally report it. I would only allow it to be reported by a mandated reporter. And even with that, I would proceed very, very carefully, because what we see in the court system is that until a child is almost walking around at the age of 6 or 7, where their stories are, in line with a bullhorn naming their perpetrator, it is an uphill battle. There was a point in time where I didn't take any coaching clients where that was the focus topic, because it's triggering for me. I've been a part of too many cases that it's just, I know here in California, you make an accusation like that and it's unfounded, the other party can come in and get full custody. So, and I know that is the case in other areas as well. You have to proceed carefully and always check with your attorney for guidance on that. All right, everybody. I need attorney friends. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you all next week. If you want to submit a question, we're doing them all through Instagram now. So watch for our stories throughout the week. You can submit your question anonymously, and Laska is compiling them all for me, and we have quite a little system going here. So thank you again. OMB Connect, my Zoom support group, we just opened up the next session, which starts in April. It will go the first Wednesday night in April. I believe it's 6:30 Pacific time to 8 p.m. So we'll meet April, May, and June. Then I turn the reins over to the group and they will schedule and continue meeting. And then there's an online support aspect of that as well. So if you are interested in joining that, feel free to email me at tina@tinaswithin.com. All right, everyone, take care. Happy Friday.